Okay, so we've all seen them, right? The incredible demos of humanoid robots. But let's get real for a second. Are we actually close to having a robot that can, fold your laundry or clean up the living room? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through all that sci-fi hype and get to the surprising reality of it all.
I mean, you've seen them. They're up on stage at these massive tech events right alongside the big name billionaires. The whole spectacle is just wow. And it's so easy to watch that and think, okay, the future is officially here. And the promises, oh man, the promises are even bigger than the demos. Everyone keeps talking about this ChatGPT moment for robotics being just around the corner. That one big breakthrough that changes everything.
But what's really going on behind the curtain? Past all the flashy lights and the bold predictions, how close are we really? That's the big question we're digging into. And believe me, the answer is way more complicated and honestly, way more fascinating than you might think. So let's dive in and start by looking at this huge gap between the dream and the reality. All right, section 1, the robot dream versus reality. What's the story they're selling us and what's actually going on? And look, this gap we're talking about, it is massive. We get shown these mind-blowing stage demos, but behind the scenes, insiders are saying it's still a far-away dream. The big secret is that a lot of these robots, well, they're actually being controlled by a human somewhere. Their real capabilities are questionable, to say the least, and they are absolutely not ready for the mass market. And hey, this isn't just, some random opinion. Get this, at a recent humanoid summit, you had something like 60 exhibitors showing off the latest and greatest stuff. And out of all of them, only 2 or 3 were even trying to build a robot for your house. That tells you everything you need to know about where the industry's real priorities are right now. So, okay, why is this so hard? What's the holdup? Well, it turns out your home is basically the final boss level for a robot. It's a way, way harder challenge than just a predictable factory floor. Think about it like this. A factory, it's structured, it's predictable. A robot can just do the same simple task over and over and over. But your home, it's the complete opposite. It's total chaos. It's dynamic, it's messy, it's filled with unpredictable stuff like your kids, the dog, or a Lego you left on the floor. For a robot, that's a nightmare. And all that chaos creates some major roadblocks. First, safety. I mean, you can't have a heavy machine just wigging out around your family, right? Then there's privacy. And ooh, boy, we are definitely going to get into that can of worms in a minute. And to top it all off, most of these things are still slower than a human doing the same job. So when you add it all up, it starts to make sense why the only robot that's really made it into our homes is the good old Roomba. It does one simple thing, and that's it. Okay, so this brings us to what might just be the biggest secret in robotics right now. You see, behind a lot of these super advanced robots you see online, there's actually a human pulling the strings. The official term for it is teleoperation, but what it really means is that there's a person, probably wearing a VR headset miles away, who is literally seeing through the robot's eyes and controlling its every single move. They're not actually autonomous, they're just really, really fancy puppets. And this quote right here just hits the nail on the head. Would you pay $20,000 for a robot to come in your home and be operated by a human being wearing a headset? Because, believe it or not, one company is already selling a robot that does exactly that. But seriously, think about it for a second. Would you be cool with a total stranger basically walking through your house, seeing all your stuff, and watching whatever you're doing? So you might be asking, why on earth would they do this? Well, it's because teleoperation isn't the final product. It's a shortcut. It's a bridge to get to the real goal. See, by having humans do things like fold laundry through the robot, these companies are collecting just mountains and mountains of real-world data. And all that data gets fed into an AI to train it. The ultimate hope is that eventually the AI sees enough examples that it can just learn to do it all by itself. No human puppet master needed. Which, of course, brings us full circle, right back to the privacy issue. There was a funny line from one expert who joked that anyone who likes to walk around their house naked might want to rethink that. Because if the whole point is for the robot to collect data and learn, it has to see everything. And for right now, that means a human operator is seeing everything too. Now, this massive push for data isn't just about training one robot. It's at the very heart of a new global tech race. And the 2 main players, the US and China, are taking completely different paths to try and win it. Okay, so in the US, the strategy seems to be more cautious, more methodical. You've got companies like Tesla and Figure AI, and they're focusing on factories first, perfect the tech in a controlled environment. But China?
They're going all in. They're way more aggressive, pushing these robots out into the real world to get people used to them, and, this is the key, to collect that precious data as fast as humanly possible. It's really like the classic tortoise and the hare story, but the prize is the future of robotics. So after all that, the hype, the huge technical problems, the creepy privacy stuff, let's get down to the million-dollar question: when can you actually buy one of these things?
Well, the honest answer is nobody really knows. The predictions are literally all over the place. You've got the super optimists saying maybe next year. You've got some companies aiming for 2026. A lot of people will say, probably 5+ years. But then you have the really cautious experts who say it's more like 10 years away. And some even think the problems are so big that a true do-everything robot butler might just never happen. But hang on, there's one last twist to this whole story. What if the first humanoid robot to actually make it into our homes isn't a helper at all? I know it sounds totally backwards, but hear me out. A big theory is that the first robots to break through won't be doing laundry. They'll be for entertainment, for companionship. Picture a robot that can play with your kids, or just be a kind of high-tech buddy. The idea is that this character robot could be the perfect Trojan horse, a way to get us all comfortable with having them around before we give them really important jobs like helping the elderly. So, that leaves us with one final big idea to chew on. The whole robot butler dream, from the cartoons. That's still a long way off. But the question we might have to answer a lot sooner is this: are you ready to pay $5,000 for a robotic playmate for your kids? Because how we answer that question, well, that's probably going to define the next chapter of our lives with technology.